Okay, so this is the second part. I'm re-recording this. Um, we got the B6 so I did some Neptune work, Neptune, Pluto. As I can say, it's not the best election, okay? I'd rather have descendant on Jupiter, even though Jupiter is retrograde, than on Saturn. I didn't capture it in the fifth house. I captured it in the sixth. The moon in the sixth house is not the best placement for the moon, of course. But we set some intentions into that. That would mean that the Pluto would be in the third house and Neptune would be in the fourth house. Again, okay, very interesting, all in all. But you see, it's the first go. So it's not like a sphere and sundry where you get 1,000 elections and then you do what you want to read. How the reading for the last talisman, okay, for the process. It's not that type of election. It's like we got an election, we got the moon more or less aspecting this planet. It's once in a 248 years, it's once in a 300 years, it's once in a 500 years. We're going to go for that, and then we're going to remediate the bunch like you remediate a natal chart. So this is something important to remember about the B6 Tau. When we capture the B6 Tau, it's not the thema mundi. It's not something that you have once in 28 years. This is way, way, way more rare. And so that means you work with what you have together what you don't, okay? So I got the set of honeys. Now it's going on a hibernate. The Neptune going on a hibernate. I got the Beta per se with the fifth lunar mention, with everything, the remediation with the Uranus. Okay, that's been the first one. I got the Pluto one, okay? And then they're going to be combined very naturally. The Neptune stuff leaked a little, and then when I did for the Pluto-Neptune sextile, then it was recycling between the oils, and some oils linked. Then I tried to capture it on the second lunar mansion, and I yelled at my mom because she interrupted me, so I wasn't going to go for a fifth house moon, Uranus. This was just not a good omen, okay? I tried to retake, and then my mom yelled at me, so I'm saying, okay, that's probably not a good energy for the fifth moon. But that's life, okay? It's a part of what you see. It's what's going on. Well, before that, she would say, hey, it was like she was saying something, and I was like, oh, wait, and it was okay. I was in control, and it was just the anoretic degree. It stopped on the anoretic degree of Jupiter sign. Yes, the ruler of this energy is retrograde. Yes, Venus is doing its thing with Mars and Pluto. Yes, the moon is applying to Venus. Yes, the moon is in the sixth house, okay? Absolutely not the best election, but I went for the first go. Now I'm going to try to retake. I set intention to retake, both to have like more honeys or more stuff when it's going to be available. And that is kind of like, we got the B6 out, okay? We got the basis. Now it's going to be working up to that. Of course, there were many energies that were trying to interfere. And of course, I blocked that. You understand, we're doing such work, we do such real work. Sometimes people, instead of buying a couple of honeys and trying to do that themselves, when they know the election, try to mix within your work, because they don't want your work to counter their work. I'm like, hey, if you're all up there in my non-existent real, you're backfiring your own magic. Because I'll be here doing me, and you backfiring your own magic. That's to you, and that's what's up. So, all in all, very interesting. I'm glad I got the Neptune one. It was a Venus day, Venus hour. Again, Venus in Aquarius. It's neither good nor bad, kind of like a Venus. And we got to the Neptune, which is what I wanted to get. It's kind of an oil and a honey. I didn't do a talisman. Might do one later, because I still got more time. If I get to have more time, just surrender it and go to the next election. Okay, I got a Pluto talisman, was fantastic, very purgatory. And then I got the moon sextile Neptune and trine Pluto with the 5th lunar mansion, and all kind of combination about it. Is crunched up election. Yes, the moon is on the 22. I gave some reference to do magical on the 22 in the sense of, safety, housing, avoiding assassination, avoiding domestic violence, and so on and so forth. We'll see what would be. It's a very experimental one. Very different approach to the way you usually do magic. I didn't fast for 7 days. I saw that the Neptune stuff is coming up. A lot of Neptune work, a lot of being with the void, a lot of tending to Neptune related things that has been happening all along. So it was definitely things bringing up to this position when it comes to Neptune work. This was definitely coming up. Again, chart Venus. That would put ascendant in Sag. That would mean Pluto would be in the 3rd house, and the Neptune would be in the 4th. So 4th is a strong house. We have a trine to Neptune, a trine to Pluto, and a sextile to Neptune. Okay, so we're not getting a hard aspect to Moon Neptune. We're getting a soft, and the Moon is in Taurus. The Moon is fairly aspected. It is conjunct in a retrograde Uranus, which I didn't call on or summon. I call it the 5th lunar mansion, and I did some Moon in Taurus, but that's it. We have another Moon Uranus direct with Beta per se in 5th lunar mansion to back it up, and then I got the clean Neptune, a clean Pluto, ready to be blended. For the Beta per se, I should be having an oil. I don't know. So there should be an oil. I'll see. There is an oil. Okay, there's a little bit of a solve there. So I'm going to be blending them the first go. Very soon I'm going to let the Pluto farther hype. I had to use the Pluto mid-cycle. So, and that proved well. That proved very well. That being said, okay, I had to use it mid-cycle. I don't always like to do that thing, but that means we have the Moon sextiling Pluto, the Moon trining Pluto, which is going to be very important, and the magical work on the 22. So I don't know, okay, if it's promising, it's not promising. Okay, it's kind of like, it's very experimental, it's even lethally experimental. Let us set intention as with outer planets. So the first go of the bisextile is up. If you're capturing the bisextile, okay, so use honey, use recycled bottles. Completely different approach than we would do with natural clean magic, because it's a very unclean, okay, election, unless you've been preparing for centuries, which most of us living souls were not. You're gonna capture it as it comes, and you're gonna go for the election that you have, and then remediate things. Okay, so there's a layering of talismans, but there's other types of remediation that you would do, and we're gonna see, okay, how it works. Very, very, very powerful. I played the Neptune hymn, and the Selene hymn. For the Pluto, I set intentions. There's something about the Pluto hymn that I'm not sure I want to get into my talisman. So you want to be tending to those things. So all in all, very accomplished. We have the bisextile. The blendings of the stuff will be continuing as of the end of the cycle, as of the end of the month. Pluto I have to use mid-cycle. So you see, that's just the case. And we'll see what it does. We'll see how it works. We'll have more goes at capturing more things. We didn't get a Neptune talisman in clay, but all in all, I'm very satisfied, okay, with the results. Honey is honey. We got the honey with some oils. It's very interesting that the oils for the honey in Neptune, they got really concentrated, more so than I believed. We got 10 drops into half. We've got 250 grams of oil, which is a lot. It's not a consumption dosage. This is kind of like an overdose, or so maybe it's antithetical to overdose. Okay, many Neptune things. Okay, I'm still discovering this as I'm with you. And there's a lot of antidoting things. So a lot of people are trying to set a lot of intention, with Neptune, and they would have to surrender that. Okay, very simply put. They don't want it to malefically backfire, of course, because that gets in with the beta percent of Pluto at the 5th lunar dimension, all problems solved. And we got all for the good aspects of the moon. The only thing that would need to be is the Uranus that may be captured from procyon, from Cancer, okay, or even from the end of Pisces, but from Cancer. That might be a go. So we're going to have another go on that Uranus. Again, I put into the bisextile, I put in the 5th lunar dimension. Okay, it is when the moon is on the 5th lunar dimension. I put in the 5th lunar dimension. A lot of reasons to do that. It's a very lucky lunar dimension. It's a problem solver lunar dimension. Something that I really love working with. I love the scent right now. It's very fresh. Very, very fresh. Something cleanliness to do with that. I love the aspect of the moon to Pluto. I love the aspect of the moon to Neptune. Okay. So everybody is trying to get the clean-cut malefic stuff. Be prepared for the karma of the malefic. Okay, this is one giant karma. And it's something everybody wants to keep in mind. Ken. Yes, יש לי 2. So that's the bisextile. 2 cups, yes. Not now, I'm recording. Very heavy boundaries here. So we have interruptions. So you see, noting the pattern. Okay, we have a pattern of interruption, but very heavy boundaries. So you might want to think about it. You think about interruption pattern, but very heavy boundaries. 2 cups, okay, for the coffee. Okay, because Jupiter, ruler of ascendant, was in the sign of Choose. Very good smell. The combination of scents, and I kind of feel like I'm not sharing fully for what this magical work is. Okay. So that's a little bit of magical work. I've been awake most of the night, tending to something to do with organized crime and housing and oils and money laundering and medicine and hospitals and concentration camps and antidoting that, all leading up to this talisman. So, and then you see with this pattern interruption, but very controlled boundaries, strict boundaries. I'm going to do me, nobody's gonna bother or interfere with doing me, not in the name of care, not in the name of anything. Nobody's gonna ask me to do stuff that I'm not ready to do after I haven't slept all night. Okay, so 5th lunar dimension, all problems solved. And that pisses off some folks that were reliant on something that anyway is not going to yield, which is betrayal. Betrayal doesn't yield. And everybody thought, oh, I'm going to get my attention to that. We're going to get this to that. We're going to get that to that. We're going to get inversion to that. We're you'd have to surrender your intentions. If that's your intentions, then we got a pack of arsenal of astrological tools that can alchemize this intention. With Neptune, it's Neptune karma. Okay, Neptune and his Archangel Michael was doing a full-time job here. A lot of mint, a lot of eucalyptus, lemongrass. Okay? Just a lot of things to kick off a lot of things, okay? The lavender is, of course, on. So navigating the nervous system within a time where there are many attempts to interrupt, many attempts to create chaos, many attempts to control chaos, but we stay, okay? And you set your boundaries real firm, and nobody's going to get you to sway for that, because naturally if I haven't slept all night, I'm not going out anytime soon, right? And that can piss off some folks. But this is how astrology is reminding us. You got to take into account the living and to support life. You see, if you try to take a person down, you're not trying to take a person, you try to take a problem, okay? There is a galaxy of me. There are galaxies upon galaxies of me. You try to take me down, you try to understand what is the galaxy of problems and how do you tend to that. See, when somebody tries to take me down, I don't try to take him down. I might ask for help. I might expose the person, but I'm also tend to the problem, which is get this freaking MK Ultra thingy. Attempts to enslave humanity, all these things. I'm going to tend to it procyonically, which leads me to the topic of this episode. And this is the full moon in Cancer conjuncting procyon. And a full moon in Cancer conjuncting procyon is going to be conjuncting a retrograde Mars as well. And naturally apply to oppose Pluto. Hone in on that procyon. It's not a talismanic moon for procyon. Okay? And procyon is a fixed star, so we have no excuse like with the Pluto and the stuff. And so you want to call on your procyon. The procyon is a denucleaficator. The sun is going to be 23 degrees, which is the opposite sign in Capricorn. So what I like about this full moon, it's bringing a procyonic notion, a culmination to a period of 6 months from January. So we talk about nearly all the Uranus retrograde period, the Neptune retrograde period, and even a lot of the Pluto retrograde period. The topic of denucleafication. Now what we need for denucleafication, what it entails, what are they going to do with the fluoride, okay? How they funded nukes, what money laundering went into that, what ritual satanic abuse we need to abolish to denucleify so that people won't manifest death en masse. It's also a sign of housing, okay, and the moon in Cancer. It's a sweetener of the verdict. So for those people fearing Hague or ICC, crimes against humanity, there's a chance to sweeten up the verdict here. And the moon symbolizes that it's going to be to do with housing. I'm going to say it again. There is a chance to sweeten up the verdict here. And the moon symbolizes going to have to do with housing. Cures for cancer. Caregiving. Okay? How we treat parents, especially mothers or caregivers. There is where we have a sweetening of the verdict. Tending to those things is sweetening the verdict, okay? It doesn't just happen, sweetening the verdict. Okay, what is going to happen? How do you sweeten the verdict? Okay, you provide housing. You provide housing for caregivers. You retrieve the children back to their mothers and fathers. Okay, if they were kidnapped for bureaucracy, Pluto in Capricorn, in a Saturn sign, medical experiments related to fertility, okay? Sweetening up the verdict would be, okay, abolishing these experiments, providing antidotes. There's always an antidote to something. However terminal you think it is, there's always a genuine antidote, not a washing antidote, not a vaccinatie antidote, a genuine antidote. There's always an antidote. If you try to assassinate someone with the most poisonous poison, there's an antidote to that poison. If you provide it on time, that person lives. That bisextile talisman is doing its thing. And then there is conjunction to Mars. Conjunction to Mars is fighting. It's a retrograde Mars. So we've been through that fight. Thank you very much. I'm still recording. And you see, just me talking about procyon, you see the atmosphere for in the beginning, it was like, nah, I'm regarding. And now it is this mediated, and yeah, I'm going to take a walk for me, and so on. That's the procyonic. Okay? Now, with the Mars retrograde, there's going to be a fight. It's just releasing from the opposition to Pluto. There's going to be a conflict now. We've been through that conflict, but with Pluto in Capricorn, now with Pluto is in Aquarius. And the moon gives us the chance, okay, they sandwich procyon. So it gives us the chance to sweeten the verdict. Now I tell you, by January, it can be that some bombs are going to go off, that some Chernobyl is going to happen. Okay? You want to think about that as Uranus is still stationing. It's a Uranus thingy. It doesn't station for a day, it doesn't station for a week, it's stationed for a fucking month. It stations on the 23rd degree of Taurus. It's very slow right now. Waiting to exhale, okay? So this full moon is on the waiting to exhale of Uranus, okay, applying to go direct. So that's the waiting to exhale. We've been in that argument. Some bomb's gonna go off. Something's gonna happen, okay? Because Mars retrograde conjuncting moon opposing Pluto, something's gonna go off. And it trines Neptune. That means some leak, something's gonna leak, some gas gonna leak, nuclear reaction gonna leak, some bomb gonna go off. Okay, you saw the houses in The Hague with the missing people. Okay, unfortunately we yet again, and we've been in that argument when Mars was direct. Now we're back in the same argument. The situation changed up a bit. Now Pluto is in Aquarius. It's not the Pluto Capricorn. So all of us see the same argument from a different point of view, and we've just released from another. Now, what did I say about the release of a hard aspect? Is the bomb going off. And the full moon, we have the full effect of that. Okay. Can there be earthquake on that time? Yes. Yes. Can there be earthquake that sets off a bomb, that takes off a Chernobyl? Absolutely. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But something on the mega effect of that is going to be, now it can be that it's hidden. You didn't know that the government official of Dutch government said the vaccinatie was a military naval operation. You didn't know that Kim Jong-un declared a war on USA. You didn't hear that. It wasn't on the NBC, BBC, CBC, CBDC, or NATO News for the record. You listen to NATO, like it's Putin. And then Mark Rutte says we're going to have to pay even more if we don't go to war. Okay? It's like we're going for it. That was the news today. If we were honing on a JFK with the Cuban Missile Crisis, well, we've had talks from the Kremlin to the Pentagon, to the White House since 1963. We're in 2024. Going 2025. Okay? If you're counting on a JFK, remember what happened to JFK when he said there's a plan to enslave humanity. Okay? And then you should have seen Mark Rutte's face when Peter de Vries was assassinated. Because I've seen that face, and this is not a mask. Peter de Vries spoke against the WHO. That grief was not a mask. Okay, so if you're counting on a JFK, JFK is geleden, is deceased, is assassin. Now, what would be the sweetening of the verdict? First of all, the conflict, even though it's from Cancer, Pluto is in Aquarius. The conflict is not with your government. It's not even with NAFO. It's with the global organizations and those that are hidden. It's the global cult. MK, not just Ultra, but Masons, K for cows. That's Aries, that's the Ubermensch asteroid that you've been marketed at. Oh, that's the marginalized in society, that's the LGBTQ, that's the Ubermensch. They are very marginalized, they were born into torture, but you know them better as the elite. Or what you like to call the reptiles or the clones, okay? You take any child, you torture them from the womb, they gonna look like they're alien, they gonna act like reptilian, they gonna act like a clone. The C factor is upbringing. But that moon talks about upbringing. And what you're dealing with is a global matter now. It's not a government matter. With Pluto Capricorn, you still dealt with pyramidal shaped things. Now it's the extra pyramidal. Now it's if in Capricorn, I was talking, we need to decentralize this, decentralize that, decentralize that. I'm like, well, the Robobank is a cooperative. So we're going to have a full exposure, but the sun is still in Capricorn. So the saying the Robobank is a cooperative is very correct for this, because Mars is a real estate, and Saturn is ruling both Capricorn and Pluto right now, both the sun and Pluto. And we're going to be moving from the pyramidal shape cult to the decentralized structures of the cooperative, the kibbutz, the moshav. MK Ultra took a place in the kibbutz where you separate the children from the parents, and everybody tortured. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna believe the children? The parent too tired working in agriculture, the children too tired. And they were electrocuted, and they were turned to sexpionages. They were torturing each other. And this is considered chalutziyut. It's considered some innovation, some shamna v'salta, if you call it. It's the bread and butter. It's the salt of the earth that people say. It's the salt of the earth of the Israelites. Is the moshavnikim and the kibbutznikim. It's the MK Ultra of the MK Ultra of the MK Ultra of the Joe Biden, head of MK Ultra committee. Okay, I want you to think Joe Biden. He's salt of the earth. He's went through a lot of grief. Okay, grew up to a lot of children as well, publicly. It's what we've seen publicly. It's kind of groping, right? Was born into that. It's not his fault that he was born into that. But you see, that's the salt of the earth. It's not about left or right, okay? The vaccinatie was in his terms. The death and concentration camps for the homeless in his terms. The abortion for women, prohibition of abortion for women in Biden's. It's not a left or right pill. And the blue is very rosy as well. So this is going to be a full moon. It's going to expose things, but with procyon you have the sweetening up of the verdict if you apply to procyon. Moon opposing Pluto and conjuncting Mars. Let's just say I would not piss off my mother at that time. I would not pick up a fight with a woman about fertility at the time, or a trans woman about fertility at the time, or a trans man about fertility at the time. I would definitely not put anybody's house at risk, although it's perfected for houses to be at risk. Anybody's housing, to put it at risk right now, let's just say Jean-Claude Van Damme has a Mars in Cancer for his natal chart. I know Mars in Cancer is fallen. It's passive aggressive, it's this, it's all of that, all of the above. It's not Mars in Leo. Mars in Leo is like, you are a in public. Mars in Cancer is the undertones. Everybody's undertones. Mars in Cancer is the fact that if I had to set a boundary to you asking questions about me and my mom, we don't have a conversation. If I had to face this situation, we don't have a conversation. Anything I say, anything I don't say, anything I do, anything I don't do, we don't have a conversation. You lost the mandate for that. Okay? That's an undertone. Now Mars is in Leo, so I say it. It's a boundary that should not even be set. Now, just Mars in Cancer, sometimes it's the person that doesn't say, well, that bothers me. And then it goes off, okay? But when we talk about opposition Pluto, let's face it, okay? And now it's just releasing from the opposition with Pluto, but Pluto is on for the global, okay? Let's hold a warm place in our hearts for all these landlords or mucklers that stressed up a single mom, a woman and a daughter, a single dad even, okay? A war veteran, Mars, okay, a single tenant, a family for a couple of pesos. Let's hold a warm place in our heart for them because they're going down. Because we were the small problem. Now Pluto's up with the big problem. You thought you had a problem with the state. Now it's a little bit of a bigger problem. It's also for the other way around, okay? We thought we had a problem with, oh, the state is not going to help us, or the this or the that. Now we're dealing with something MK Ultra-like. And so it's a different type of thing. But also, if you're on the part that we're trying to abuse power over the common people, okay? Just this morning, not this morning, previous morning, when I was at the airport, I saw there were Oren and some luxury houses cartel, okay, got taken down for human trafficking. They were doing intelligence and espionage, so the FBI arrested them. You understand? What does that mean in terms of intelligence? Okay? I said what I said to my makler. The people that look at the person with 100 estate, they're not going to keep you alive. Okay? You try to sell me, that's not going to help you. Yeah? They're not going to vouch for you. They don't care about you. For them, it's like, okay, you take me down, it's easier. Then they take you down for you taking me down, that's all. As far as they're concerned. But they created the situation that you want to try to take the money that comes like a Swiss bank down. Because it's probably the only money that comes like a Swiss bank tenant. Definitely in that neighborhood. You better bet. What they gonna do to you? Okay? Now, But I have problem with MK Ultra. I have problem with MK Ultra. Every single citizen on planet Earth has a problem with MK Ultra. It's to do with your housing, your income, caregiving, children, fertility. Every single person. Okay. Yah chose to isolate yourself from your tenets, from the common people. Who's going to smuggle you? The common people. Okay, you'll be sitting sniffing cocaine all day. Not your fault. They put you in stress. Who knows what's up? The common people. Who knows what's coming with the common people? You try to bet deals on dead bodies. You're one of the dead bodies. We're talking China level of masses of global dumbfuckery. Were you supposed to be? You're supposed to get smuggled out of the death van with your tenant. Where that was supposed to be, hey, I know you were coming to water the trees. I know you're having a hard time. I know they're coming for the mucklers. I know I won't be able to pay you. I know you won't be able to pay this. But here, there's a spot here. There's a spot there. Here, let's build up this here. Let's build up a cave there. Let's do something. Let's see if there's a children there. That's what's supposed to be happening. But you're sniffing cocaine and jerking off on your tenant and then try to astrally rape them and then stalk them for, I'm sorry, 400 euros. Not 800, 400 euros. That up until then were coming like a Swiss watch, and as of then were still coming like a Swiss watch. So what you tried to do there? Get yourself unalived? Congratulations, now I can't smuggle you because I don't trust you. I don't trust you to not rape me, so I can't smuggle you. I can't tell you, well, listen, there's a spot here, there's a spot there. Or I found a house to squat here, I found a house to squat there. I can't tell you, think you're not going to need it? You know you're going to need it. The sweetening of the verdict is housing, is caring for the caregivers. You know, we want to know what I did when Mars was around that time, when I had to escape. I called in people on Facebook. See, since I'm already out, let's see if we can gather some folks, since there are bombings in all of Israel and everybody in Gaza or in the north. Let's see if we can get to the children. Let's see where there are caves, where we can go, or to do something. That's what I did with my time. I was barely able to move. That's what we should be doing with our time en masse. People are not moving. People with guns, women with guns. Nobody's moving. What they're waiting for, I don't know. They know where they are. The army knows where everybody is, but it's not just where everybody is. It's the people kidnapped to the city centers. Now, there's a wake-up call for the United States as well. There's going to be full disclosures around A-bombs. We're going to know of more than we know. There may be some leaks. There may be some gas leaks. There may be some earthquakes. If there was any gas weapon used, we're going to know. A laser, we're going to know. Mars is trining Neptune. Now you understand that the people that you call elite, they know that they're They know for the situation, they might leak. Okay, Sun will be trining Neptune. I'm sorry, Sun will be, yes, sextiling Neptune and a trining Uranus. Okay? You think about what Donald Trump knows in his situation, what Elon Musk knows in his situations. They understand that the guillotine is over there and they're over here. If they're not going to start singing, they understand that they're the next, they're the royalty now in a democratic, supposedly democratic society. The you don't know what's coming is the war of the lodges. The depopulation is of the lodges first. Everybody knows that they weren't intending to keep anybody. It's a cult of betrayal, right? They were born into that from age 0, from the womb. I'm just stating the obvious to everyone. I'm not telling anything new to any one of them. And I'm not reminding them either. They know that. The cult is called Memento Mori. And what was the ultimate betrayal, unfortunately, is related to that. What's the sweetening of the verdict in that context? So this is the full moon in Cancer. Procyon is assisting. Mars, again, is opposing Pluto, but the trine to Neptune, the sextile to Uranus. Sun, the sextile to Uranus. We're going to have some revolutionary leaders popping up, exposing stuff, exploding deals, because the Sun is going to oppose Mars. Exploding real estate deals, okay? Leaders exploding real estate deals. Oil deals. Embargoes, explosion of embargoes. Oil embargo. What's more Mars-Pluto opposition than an oil embargo? Saturn is still in Pisces. Some sort of medical embargo. Explosion of a ghetto. This could be happening as of yet. There's both the building of the ghettos and the explosion of them. Exposure of a ghetto. Exposure, maybe there is an oil embargo that we don't know about. So much oil underneath the Dead Sea. I remind you that solar energy set the Bedouin away from polygamy and into being legalized, while their Palestinian brothers and sisters that bombed them, by the way, before they bombed any Israelis out there, getting wiped out the planet. One thing led to another, okay? Solar energy, it's in the sun. Now you're not going to be given land. You're going to get legalized, but you're not going to be given land for every woman that you marry. That's going to mean for every household, 3 less women get raped. Yeah, women, you're going to have to look for a husband a little bit more. Then you're going to have to stand for will and consent a little bit more, because your sister's getting raped and not getting happily married. Then you're going to have to make it a little bit more normal for a woman to be single. You're going to have, okay, and your man going to have to speak for your sisters that are putting the burqa on, and you know that they're sex traded. You're going to have to stop murdering. You're going to have to stop murdering. Wait, not yet. I will later. Please, don't bother me when I'm recording. You're going to have to stop murdering the girls that don't want to marry, because they can only marry one person. So it's less politically correct to murder them. It's not their fault. It all started with solar energy. And you see that when the government wants to create a good change in favor of the people, with bureaucracy and the state, on the money. Just look at the sun. There is enough. Now the desert is reforesting. I'm going to go through the cycle of events again. Illegal Bedouin villages had no energy. Bought us solar panels. Then government says, well, let's legalize them, but we're not going to give you more soil for every woman. We don't want that polygamy. We don't want you to have a dozen kids with every wife. Okay, that was the interest of the state here, not Mama Teresa. Demography, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get legalized, but you're going to get one estate for household. Then you can't marry 4 women. You don't get more estate. 3 less women in every household not get raped. 3 more women looking for a husband. You can't murder a girl for not wanting to marry, because who's she gonna marry? Desert gets reforested. Wow. Now the Boko Haram that you see, that's orchestrated. Because these children could go to school. And I know because I developed with a teacher that came from the north something that was beating entire system because he applied it, not because I developed it. And I was not patenting anything. I was taken from Charlie on Command and gamification. I was putting that together. I was giving that to a teacher. He became the favorite teacher. He was an English teacher, the favorite teacher of all of his students. No child get beaten in school. Children would chase him after school. Then now he could deliver this method on. Okay? So the children could get schooled. I know because I helped developing the method. No beating. Gamification. Contract with the children. Keeping them busy. Yes, they're gonna make some noise. Thanks God they make noise. If a child doesn't make noise, it's a problem. And he applied that I had an idea, I can have an idea. It's a good thing that I had an idea. Okay? That he applied that, changed the course of history for many, many, many children. Then they recruit them for a Boko Haram. They created child assassins on purpose. And they had to work extra hard because that teacher did develop that method and did go forward with that. So don't nobody talk to me about how difficult are the children in the Negev of the Bedouin, because I tended to that. When I don't know, I don't know. When I do know, I know. It wasn't much. I just met this person for 3 times. 300 shekels altogether is less than 100 euros. He was coming to learn English, and I didn't know what this person coming to learn English, so I met him in a public place. Then he said, well, I'm a teacher. And I said, what the fuck do I know? Then I remembered Charlie on Command, and I remembered the contract with the children. Then I remembered the gamification. We put it all together, and he became the favorite teacher. And he says, I have problems because I don't want to beat the children. So you make a contract with the children. Say, I'm not going to beat you. You can't get me to beat you. And that's how he developed the character, because otherwise he would seem, I'm sorry, like a wussy. So he said, I'm not going to beat you. You can't get me. It's one thing you can't get me to do. I'm not going to beat you. If I have to be in this position, then I'm going to say I leave. I don't stay as the beating teacher. Now, I'm going to need your cooperation, if you're cool with that. So of course there would always be the children that were not cool with that, taken to some art class, they were cool with that. Then what is gamification? Okay, these are children. You play a game with them, you make them run, you make them jump, you make them release energy. 3rd grade, what is 3rd grade? Of course they're going to make some noise. So you make a contract with them, you remind it over and over and over, because these are children. Then without being a bully, you position yourself as a person that has a character, has a boundaries, it's not going to be broken. Now they look up to you without being a bully. And you have a charisma that's a silent charisma. Okay? It's not the charisma that somebody's going to kick your spine off. It's a different type of charisma that has Charlie on command. Charlie charisma on command, okay? You put that one with that one with that one, then we work and he applies that within the 3 meetings. Within the 3 meetings. Okay, that's 3 consecutive weeks. Within 1 month, he got the entire school begging to learn English. Now, I could talk about this all day. He applied. Now he had a method. Now he could teach that to other teachers. Now, nobody can tell me that the children of the Negev are problematic, that the Bedouin children are problematic. No. They got recruited to child assassins on purpose. And you know what child assassins do? They get into houses and they rape people. Then the Bedouins that left the village, because they went to the city to leave the village, to live the tribal life, they're judges. They can't put their families on trial and their children. I said what I said. Pluto in Aquarius in Israel is going to show up some stuff. Can't nobody talk to me about the children in the Negev when I was the one tending to that, and the person that I thought just wanted to study English, we comprised the method for teaching, and he applied that within 1 month. Those children were afraid of being beaten. They were beaten. Nobody knew how to get a hold of them. Okay, they didn't have a technique. It's not that they're bad people. I took all the Western techniques and I combined them together, and then there was this person applying them steadfastly, which you need a lot of patience for. Okay? I was a doggy sitter, the amount of screaming that went on. Okay? You got a dog, they're supposed to enter, you're supposed to open the door. They think you're playing with them. Okay? 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose it. Then you have to forgive yourself and at the same time wonder what technique. That person, he developed that with children, not dogs. It's worse. They're words. Okay? And they're not afraid of you. Especially when you don't beat them. Within 1 month, he had the patience to do that. I don't know what's he made of. So you see, solutions are there for everything. And if you know about the differences in culture that the Bedouin Palestinian person, not even Palestinian, Arabic Israeli from the north, very likely Christian, comes to teach all the Bedouin people of the Negev, it's kind of like, I don't know how to put it. An LA white apprentice coming to teach children in Harlem, in a public school, the one that they save for the emergency cases, the ones that don't have the money to pay for a private school. Something of that sort. Now, I don't know, maybe Harlem is now more developed, but it's not the Harlem of Amsterdam. And we got that one working. He got that one, where he just had an idea. He actually applied that diligently. Now, when you remember these things, you want to be remembering these things, because when they're going to tell you to invest in oil, and when they're going to market you solutions, and when they're going to say, well, the children of today, and they're going to market. I had a Facebook photographer friend from the non-monogamy community, mind you. Okay, separated from one. She was a little bit older than him. He wasn't a minor. And it ain't no problem. Photographer. From the non-monogamy community. That's the people that sleep with other people when they're in a relationship, okay? It's gotta be useful. He proposes at schools to put cameras in the classrooms, not in the entrance for bathrooms that you see when the child is going to get ritually sacrificed or raped or something or trafficked, but inside the classroom against the children, and to punish them severely. That's a guy from the community of the people that sleep with other people when they're in the commitment. So you see, it's not a very structural. What's this guy doing over there? Was he trying to demote his girlfriend that had to say him, bye, bye, Miss American Pie, I know I gotten older? Was he in a friend of some cult that tried to deplete women and she said, I need to go out to this dumb fuckery? You better bet he's still dating multiple girls and boys or whatever. How young, how old, I don't know. But you better bet he's going to regulate the children. Guy Vago. That's the name of the photographer. It's on his Facebook. It's not. Because he has a name and he has a face. There are solutions. You all want to think about that because you're going to see things starting to be implemented and they're going to get the child assassins in. So you're going to say, oh my God, what do we do with this generation of extremely violent children? Abolish satanic ritual abuse. Once they got programmed, it's challenging. They don't trust you. They barely even know who they are at any given point. There's another them. And still, there are solutions. They're not jellifying and Kim Jong-unifying your schools by the Brussels elite. Okay, let we not blame that on Kim Jong-un. He likes to play MASH, and he likes to drink, and he likes to joke around. That's his character. So why is North Korea looking like this? I don't know. There's a global cult involved. We gotta ask ourselves that about culture.